Illinois State Police did not comply with the requirements of the Firearm Owners Identification Card Act and did not maintain adequate controls over its reporting and monitoring of state property. Those are just a couple of the findings of a recent Illinois Auditor General report released on the Illinois State Police, and we are going to delve into that here. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning in the live chat, and I am going to post these links into the live chat so that you guys can have these. This one is the General Audit, so we're just going to put General Audit Summary. Boom. I'm also going to put up there the audit over the administration of the Firearm Owners ID Card Act. So, FOID Act audits. You guys will have that in your chat as well in the live chat. Also, you'll see I've got the Firearm Owners Identification Card and Concealed Carry License Program audit follow-up. So this is the CCL audit. All right, so you guys got those links. So what we're going to do here is we're just going to kind of go through and show you a little bit of the audit reports, the summary, and how you can read these yourself. If you go to Auditor General via Google, you'll be able to find it. Auditor.illinois.gov is the website. So we'll pull this up. This is the synopsis of the Illinois Auditor General's report for the 2 years that ended June 30th of 2024. So this only goes up to about 12 months ago, and it's a 2-year audit. So you're actually looking at the 2 fiscal years of 2022 and 2023, all the way up to June 30th of 2024. And you can see here different types of audit findings, right? And the red, I believe, indicates repeat audits. So a lot of different findings, 11 repeats, 11 total, and that's a category 1. Into category 2, they had 14 repeats and 21 total. With some of the indications of what those are. So this, again, is just the synopsis, all right? So we'll find, inadequate controls over state property. The department's populations were not sufficient, even given the population limitations noted above, which hindered the ability of the accountants to conclude whether selected samples were representative of the population as a whole. We performed the audit tests. During testing, they found that $379,133 of missing items reported. You've got fiscal year 23, the discrepancy report of $914,571, which were still included in the department's asset inventory with missing items involved. Over $1 million in the discrepancy reports for 398 missing items. So that's, again, a loss of $2 million of not really knowing where these particular items are. Also some, inability to reconcile different types of reports. Loss of or missing items could contain confidential information. That's could be troubling. The department did not have adequate controls over lost or missing property items. Interesting that that's something being found by the Illinois State Police. And on the governor's desk is a bill that would penalize people who don't report lost or stolen items, firearms in particular. You could face some civil and then criminal penalties. Anyways, the department did not have adequate controls over lost or missing property. Noted 37 of 50, 74% of items listed as lost or missing could possibly have confidential information stored in them. The department was unable to identify the types of data stored in those places. So again, you can go through and see a lot of this overview here, right? Items no longer in use remain on property records, even though they're transferred out. Department officials agreed with the audit's findings here. Now they get to the non-compliance with the Firearm Owners Identification Card Act. Some of the headlines: FOID renewal fees deposited into the wrong fund. This is a big issue. During testing of FOID applications, we noted 100% of FOID renewal applications tested, the renewal fees were deposited into the Illinois State Police Revocation Enforcement Fund instead of the Illinois State Police Firearms Services Fund. So the services fund is, what is servicing your Illinois firearm owner identification card or your CCL card or facilitating firearm transfers that required to go through Illinois State Police, at least reporting of it. Card holders notification. This has been a big issue. Here in Illinois, we're one of 4 states that require firearms owners to have a FOID card in order to not just own and purchase firearms, but also ammunition. But cardholders are not being notified in a timely manner. During testing of expiring FOID cards, we noted 40%, of 40, 5% cardholders, 2 of them were not notified by the department. That's only 40 that they tested. So they went through and grabbed a random sample type thing. Here's 40 cases. They found 2 of them, people weren't notified within the 180 days, some of them 19 days late. So these are findings that have been reported since 2020, they say. They made some recommendations, and the department agreed. They concurred with the recommendations, and the department should ensure timely notifications of FOID card holders and proper deposit of fees in accordance with the Firearm Owner Identification Card Act. All right, so there you go. That's the summary of the Illinois State Police review. But then we get to a just 2-page overview of the Department of State Police's administration of the Firearm Owner Identification Card Act. And we do want to go through this a bit. So it gives a little bit of the follow-up here, talks about the Auditor General releasing a management audit of the State Police's administration of the Firearm Owner Identification Card Act back in 2012. The audit contained 12 recommendations. It's part of the compliance examination of the Illinois State Police Department for the period ending June 30th, 2022. Predecessor auditors followed up with the status of recommendations made in the April 2012 report and reported that 11 recommendations were fully implemented and 1 was partially implemented. As part of the compliance examination of the departments for the period ending of June 30th, 2024, the auditors followed up with the status of the partially implemented recommendation report in the June 30th, 2022 report. Again, they do these audits every 2 years. The current status of the recommendations is shown on the table, so it gives you kind of an idea of what they were looking for, right? So some of the recommendations: guidance over the FOID card program, reporting by the circuit court clerks, reporting by hospitals, information reported in NICS by state police, parent guardian information, customer service, out-of-state applicants. You've got management controls over eligibility process, procurement documentation, timeliness of FOID card approval or denial, reporting by state police, and overtime costs incurred by state police. So recommendation 6, the customer service aspect, the Department of State Police, the auditor says, should work with its vendors to ensure that FOID cards are forwarded to the correct mailing addresses and ensure that it has enough customer service representatives to answer the FOID card questions from applicants. So they say that's implemented, and that was one that apparently was not fully taken care of, at least initially. Now let's go to the CCL program and how that's playing out. So it gives some background. In 2021, the Auditor General released an audit of the CCL program. It contained 6 recommendations, and you could see here the 6 recommendations were FOID and CCL application processes. They wanted that cleaned up, application processing timeliness, revoked FOID cards and concealed carry licenses, FOID card enforcement details, appeals, administrative rules updates, and so on. So that several recommendations they had here, they give a little bit of what the Illinois State Police ultimately have done to address these. And again, one recommendation was the Illinois State Police should seek to reduce manual verifications and checks of applicants' information, reduce multiple and overlapping checks, and seek legislative remedies, if necessary, in order to increase the efficiency of the FOID and CCL application process. So it said that during the previous examination, the department started streamlining the FOID card renewal process. The department also sought legislative changes to sync the FOID card and CCL validation dates. FOID card holders who are approved for new or renewed CCL are allowed to have their FOID card automatically renewed for 10 years from the date of approval of the CCL. It goes on throughout some more of the implementation of those recommendations. Recommendation 2 is Illinois State Police should ensure the FOID and CCL applications are approved or denied within the required statutory timeframes. And again, FOID new applications, 17 days roughly, down to 8.79 days. The following year, FOID renewals took about 30 days in 2023. Now they've got that down to 7 days in 2024. CCL fingerprint applications, you got 52 days down to 45 days. And then the CCL non-fingerprint close to 80 days in 2023. Now it's taking fewer days in fiscal year 2024 than it took with the fingerprint applications in fiscal year 2023. That's interesting. Again, I know some of the ongoing arguments, at least for the FOID card, are that hey, this is not constitutional. All that's tied up in court right now, so they're still dealing with that in court. The CCL stuff, if you remember, Illinois was the last state in the nation to allow for somebody to get a permit to concealed carry, or the last state in the nation to allow anybody outside the home with a firearm. So they opted for the concealed carry scheme in Illinois. All right, so moving on, revoked FOID cards and concealed carry licenses. This is recommendation 3. Illinois State Police should ensure that sheriffs are notified in revocations as is required by the Firearm Owner Identification Card Act, and continue to work with local law enforcement agencies to ensure revoked FOID cards and concealed carry licenses are returned to the department in accordance with the Firearm Owner ID Card Act and the Concealed Carry Act. During previous examination, the majority of FOID card and CCLs were not returned to the department as required by law. Additionally, the department was unable to provide documentation that the county sheriff was notified as required by law. During the current examination, all 18 that they reviewed of the FOID cards tested, the sheriffs were appropriately provided a copy of written notice of recommendation. So interesting that they seem to have cleaned that up. Recommendation 5, the appeals. Illinois State Police should establish a case management system for tracking appeals and update its administrative rules to reflect the current appeals process. Now, this is interesting because the governor did just sign a law that allows for appeals to have more due process. The advocates of the measure said, but opponents said that it's not really due process to have administrative hearings remove people's rights. You need to actually have a substantive hearing where people can, bring their accuser in front of them and have a trial and an actual conviction type thing. The due process that we are hearing more and more about when it comes to the immigration issues. But what about when it comes to Second Amendment rights for not just U.S. citizens, but Illinois citizens? It's an interesting debate that obviously is played out here in Illinois. It still plays out in the federal courts. But anyways, the Illinois State Police should establish a case management system. They say that, during other examinations, the department did not have a case management system in place to track appeals and could not provide information for the audit period that they were looking to determine these things. So if appeals were being adjudicated in a timely manner, they weren't tracking that. During the examination period, the department was able to keep FOID card application denials and revocation appeals through a case management system with the creation of the FOID card review board, which began processing applications in January of 2023. The department determined it was not fiscally responsible to purchase a robust case management system. Since the board began processing appeals, the department's workload in the appeals process was dramatically reduced. It goes on from there and spells some more stuff out. So you should have those links to those audits in your inbox. Not your in the live chat there. So go check that out, read up on those. And if you're interested in other audits, go to auditor.illinois.gov. So auditor.illinois.gov. And they did just release some audits yesterday of the Department of Juvenile Justice. You've got the comptroller having a audit, the General Assembly, House of Representatives, and Senate's compliance audit. You've got another comptroller audit, Supreme Court, including appellate courts, the state employee retirement system, the compliance examination, and the census data for how many people are involved in that. So you've got some other audits there. And if you're interested too, and again, audit reports, you got to really spend some time with it. And it's not everybody's reading, but some of you wonks out there might actually enjoy it. But you can see the audit reports, state agencies, and you can click on that listed alphabetically. If you want to look at the most recent audits about pensions, for instance, you can find all that here. The General Assembly, how much does that cost in taxpayers? So have some fun with that, and we'll obviously be delving into future audits as we get them. All right, it's Illinois in Focus Daily. I'm Greg Bishop. Like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Wake up with us each and every weekday morning as we bring you the latest here in the land of Lincoln. But you can get the newsletter in your inbox. Just go to thecentersquare.com and sign up today.